Makes me want to go home and watch Rocky 3 tonight. I think I will do that. But before that, we got to go to Off the Top Rope Radio right here on KQCK radio station, heard exclusively on KQCK.com. Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday, January 29th, the year 2014. This is Off the Top Rope Radio, professional wrestling talk at its finest. We're going to be discussing all the rundown from Royal Rumble 2014. Last Sunday, we're going to talk about what happened, who won, some of the rumors, all that good stuff. We're also going to be talking with Mr. Doug McDonald of WrestlingRumors.net. He's going to have some news and some of the greatest talk out there today with some rumors again and some big news that's been happening this week. So we'll bring all that aboard here. And also, my good friend, long-time friend, we go back many, many years. He is a 5-time NWA heavyweight champion. He's my good buddy, Mr. Adam Pearce, good old scrap iron.
Oh, I've got my questions to ask him, you know.
Yeah, I know you do.
Oh, you know I do.
You can ask all the questions you want.
You know I do.
I know, you get the right answers, too. But my name is Brian Shank, a host of the program, like always. Welcome to Off the Top Rope Radio. Sitting across the board, pushing the buttons and make things light up and happy is, of course, Mr. Joe. Yes, I do use air freshener in here. Carrero. What's up, big guy?
You know why I use the air freshener, though, don't you?
Because I come around?
That's correct. Yeah. And it's all good.
Not
that I don't like your cologne.
I had pizza for lunch.
Bud Light's a great cologne.
Bud Light is one of the best colognes there is. Matter of fact, if anybody out there from Anheuser-Busch is watching, we'd love to have you as a sponsor here on Off the Top Rope Radio. I promise if you bring us Bud Light, I will bring it and drink it every single time.
And you know, I can guarantee he is not lying. He does promise that.
I promise. I do it already anyway. But, I mean, I would love to get paid for it. And if you want to have Bud Light right here, the most refreshing and talked about beer in all of America, we'd love to have you as a sponsor. So
you just killed Coors and a couple others. Now, what's up, dude?
I love Coors, too.
Thank you.
I love all beers. I don't care.
I saw you with a Pabst Blue Ribbon the other day.
Did you?
Well, what about the old Milwaukee in your car?
If you saw me with a PBR.
Oh, sorry. If there's any police out there listening, he doesn't really have one in his car.
If you saw me with a PBR.
I wasn't winking either.
Yeah, well, the cops know better than that. I just tell them I found him on the side of the road and I'm collecting some money to afford my radio
correct.
show. PBR, you know, I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan of PBR. It's a little rough.
I like it with a straw.
Yeah. Well,
when I'm in Atlanta.
I like it with another beer.
You know what? I learned that when I was in Atlanta. I went to a bar, and they gave me a PBR with a straw. I'm like, hey, really? You know what? It's kind of like a daiquiri out there. It's different. It tastes different out there. I don't know if it's in the air, but I like it.
Well, you said something about the air in Atlanta.
Here, though, it's scaring me. A PBR with a straw here, half a can, I'm done, dude.
I'm done, too. I'm glad you said something about the air in Atlanta because it's very cold out there right now.
Yes, it is.
You know, like, everybody but Arizona is getting, like, these horrible winter-like cold weather days and nights for that matter. I mean, it's been so freaking cold on the East Coast. It's unbelievable. Oh, going back to beer for a second. Did you hear about that beer truck that got caught on fire? I forgot where it was, but about 2 weeks ago, a beer truck actually got caught on fire.
No, I did not.
And it turns out that this is a true story. It turns out that the guy who was driving the truck actually used the beer in the truck
to put out the fire.
Yeah. How about that? Finally, a good use for Keystone Light. I mean,
nice.
How about that?
Nice.
That's a true story, though. I'm not kidding you. I stole that from Jay Leno, by the way. So, yeah, like I said, we're here. We're having a good time. Joe C. across the board. We're having some fun here. He's drinking his daiquiri.
I'm enjoying my coffee, to be honest with you.
Coffee. Is that what you call it this week?
That is.
Oh, it is. Okay.
It is.
Uh-huh.
I call it Java.
Yes, Java.
Java Joe.
Which stands for something else. Java Joe. I like that.
That's right.
That. Well, you enjoy your coffee. I'll enjoy my Bud Light. So, anyway, we got a big show lined up. Like I said, we're going to bring Doug McDonald on the phone here in a few moments. Dougie. I'm going to start calling him Dougie Fresh.
You know, I didn't know something about Doug. You know, he's actually related to the original Ronald McDonald.
Well, you know, his
I mean, he's a super great uncle or something like that, but I didn't know there's actually an affiliation there.
Well, his great-great-uncle was the original Hamburglar.
That's what you were saying,
yes,
right?
But it also made him grimace when he heard about that.
Right.
Grimace was also a character.
Yeah, no pun intended.
No,
right?
It's true, though. He is related.
No bun intended?
No bun intended. Jeez.
Oh, my God.
Jeez.
Stop.
Were you talking to meat? No. We can go all day with that. You know, I really enjoy the special sauce that I get over here.
Puts me in a pickle.
It really does, you know. But
well, let us get started.
Let's get started with the show. Oh, let us. Hey, like the old vegetarian once said,
we're done, right?
Let us turnip on time. So
Oh,
I have to
my
ask you where
gosh.
you've been. Get it? Where I've been. Okay. Enough of those corny-ass jokes. Let's bring some refreshing new ones in here. All right, we're going to get Doug on here in a few moments or so. Matter of fact, let's go ahead. Doug, if you're listening, we're going to call you. Joel will get you on the phone here in a moment or two. We're going to
Technology at its finest.
It is technology at its finest. We got at least 3 buttons on there that work. So hopefully
the 3 button does work. I hope he's all 3s.
I know it is too. All
right, let's
There's
do
at
it.
least a couple in there. But yeah, we'll get Doug on the phone. Go ahead and give him a call up, Joe.
You're gonna have to keep talking, Kay. Is that gonna be hard?
I think I can handle it. I've done it a couple of times here. But, I want to talk a little bit about things before we get Doug on the phone. If you did happen to catch the Royal Rumble this Sunday, I'm interested in hearing your comments. So near the end of the program, we'll go ahead and take some calls and some emails if you want to call into the show. If you don't want to get on the phone, that's fine. You can talk to Joe and you can pass on your stuff. But if you'd like to get on the air, you can do that. And you can call us at 480-745-1033. That'll be at the end of the show after our interview with Scrap Iron Adam Pierce. So once again, when we're done talking to Adam, we'll have about 10 minutes or so. 10, 15 minutes or so on the air to get your phone calls and everything else. If you want to do that, it's very easy to do. Just like I said, 480-745-1033. Keep that phone number written down, and we'll go ahead and let you know when it's time to call in. We'd love to have some phone calls if you want to talk about Royal Rumble or TNA or Adam or anybody else or anything else. We do welcome your input here on Off the Top Rope Radio. So without further ado, let's go and bring in here our news extraordinaire, the one who knows everything there is to know about the current day of professional wrestling, Mr. Doug McDonald from WrestlingRumors.net. I'm going to start calling him Dougie Fresh.
Did you say WrestlingGroomers.net?
No, Wrestling Rumors.
Oh, rumors.
Yes, not groomers.
I'm going, wait a minute.
There's a few wrestlers
That's a little strange.
There's a few wrestlers who need grooming, which I think Daniel Bryan would be one of them. But
I was thinking about your toenails. I don't know why. That's kind of creepy, but don't take it wrong.
You know what? I put my sock on the other day, and I actually got it caught in my toenail. I should probably get it, I should probably trim those.
I still have the scar on the back of my leg from when you kicked me.
I didn't know you smoked. Scar? Anyway, okay, enough of that. Let's bring on Doug here from WrestlingRumors.net, and we're going to talk... Wrestling Groomers, idiot. We're going to talk about all the things that are going on right now. There's some really interesting news that has developed here in the last few days, so we're going to bring him on. Mr. Doug McDonald, we're going to call him Dougie Fresh. That's my new name. What's up, Dougie Fresh? Is he there? Hold on a minute. I can't hear him. Can you hear him, Joe?
Good on that. And
I can hear him.
Oh, there he
fine.
goes.
No.
Hi, Doug.
hey,
Hey.
you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. How you doing, buddy?
You got this thing working? Here we go.
There we go.
Hey, to let you know, Ronald McDonald is my great grandfather, and his father, Old McDonald. Yeah, we're all related, Rob.
See, I told you, Brian.
I knew it was true. I just didn't know about
I did my internet research on this guy.
E-I-E-I-O. How do you spell cow?
So,
That's good stuff.
No, also, why are you hating on Daniel Bryan and his beard and lovely locks? I mean, I'm a man with a big beard. I like to keep it. My wife actually refuses to let me shave my beard. That's how sexy a beard is. If
Well,
you rock it the right way.
You remind me of that guy from The Hangover. That with your look. You know the guy. I don't know what's his name. The guy from The Hangover.
I know exactly who. I love that guy.
Yeah. Do you know what his
Zach.
name? What?
Zach Galifianakis.
That's it.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
He gets that all the time.
I bet he does. Or he gets.
I get it all the time.
We are talking about the comment, right? Not about something else. Because if you get it all the time, God bless you, baby. Yeah. I'm a married man. Well, anyway, we'll leave it at that. But I'll start calling it Dougie Fresh. I like Dougie Fresh. That's going to be your new nickname, Dougie Fresh.
I'm married. Do you think I'm married? Do you really think I get it all the time?
We hope so.
How many years you been married, Doug?
We are just about a year and a half now.
Oh,
He's still getting it all the time.
I'm coming up on 20 in August, so I've got a few years on.
Brian's like 73, though. That's
Yes,
the problem.
I'm
He's
74 in August.
throw him a couple of those blue pills. He'll be jumping around like a kangaroo.
I don't even know blue pills, man. I'll tell you what, when the wind blows the right way.
All right, hey, man, I'm not. I'm not judging.
Yeah, why are we talking about this? We got to talk about professional wrestling. That's why we're here on Off the Top Rope Radio. So, Dougie Fresh, let's go ahead and get going here on this. I'm going to throw a few things at you. I want you to go ahead and kind of give me some ideas here and some thoughts about it because we saw the Royal Rumble. Let's talk about that first. There was supposed to be some big surprises in the Rumble. Usually every year there's somebody you haven't seen in a few years and they come in. Some of the names talked about this year may have been Rob Van Dam, possibly. We also heard about Papa Shango. He may have showed up. We also heard rumors about, of course, Jake the Snake Roberts. All three of them guys did not show up to the Rumble. We did, in fact, see the return of Sheamus. We saw Kevin Nash come back and JBL, which 44 seconds or so inside the Rumble. I don't know. But let's talk about, first of all, the Rumble. To me, it was a little bit lackluster. I believe the Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt match was fantastic, stole the show, a very high 5-star quality pay-per-view match, very well done by those two gentlemen. Bray Wyatt, of course, the son of Mike Rotundo, the legend that he was inside the ring. So there's a lot of great amateur wrestling in his blood, and he displays it very well inside the ring, just like Daniel Bryan does. So let's talk a little bit about, first of all, the Royal Rumble match. We predicted it. Batista wins it. Comes back the week before, announces he's there to win it. He's in there now. I have a little problem with that in some respects because I don't think that the WWE brass kind of thought that he would be, probably not as talked about as they hoped. They were thinking that Batista was going to be the big thing right now, bigger than John Cena right now returning. I don't think that's happened. I want to hear your thoughts on that. And will there be possibly a change with Batista not going up for the heavyweight championship at WrestleMania?
No. Batista laid out the next few months of stuff for you when he came back on Raw on January 20th.
Right.
But he was winning the Rumble, and he's going to face the champion at WrestleMania 30, which I'll be in attendance for. Which whatever. You hit the nail on the head when you said that they have no idea what to do right now with him because he is not getting the reception that they thought that he would.
Do you think that's because of the skinny jeans by chance, or do you think that has nothing to do with it? Oh, okay.
I don't. That actually appeals to a lot of the guys and girls that are watching nowadays. The kids.
Not to me.
That's a big thing. The whole hipster movement. So I don't think that has anything to do with it.
Yeah.
But I do think that the majority of it is Daniel Bryan is the most over guy in the company.
Without a doubt.
And the loss, and what you said was great. It was my favorite match of the night. It'll be Match of the Year candidate coming up in December. Watch. That thing was incredible. I mean, almost 40 minutes of just amazing storytelling and great wrestling. I mean, it was awesome. You got a little Mike Rotunda thing going on there, Brian. You look a little bit like IRS.
Hey, you better pay your taxes. It's tax season, pal. So, yeah, I even sound like him.
Funny guy.
You do, a little bit, yeah. But, no, I think, that match made Bray Wyatt, which is what it was supposed to do. Like, he is now, everybody knows who he is.
Exactly.
Which was great. But as soon as Bryan lost that match, everyone kind of just said, especially all the internet fans that just love to jump on and complaining about things, is, okay, he lost, he's got to win the Rumble, right?
Right. Wasn't even in it.
He's got to come back. And he wasn't even in it.
I know.
So, I mean, you can go, if you're a fan that was not happy with the Royal Rumble result, and you got a little heated and you want to voice your opinion towards these things, visit WeWantBryan.com.
Yeah, exactly. It's true.
Check that out. WeWantBryan.com. Check that out. Shameless plug. Now, the biggest thing with this is it's not going to change the main event, but you obviously saw the change in the guard Monday night on Raw following Royal Rumble when Daniel Bryan's in the first segment with Triple H, Stephanie McMahon.
Yep.
They had to do something to get him on TV and address. I mean, Triple H went full heel for the first time in 6 months since he screwed Bryan out of the title. He went full heel in the crowd, pandering to them. Oh, you didn't get what you want? I mean, that's how he said it. That's how he addressed it. And it stirred the crowd up because the crowd is so hot for Daniel Bryan. If Daniel Bryan is in one of the 3 projected main events for WrestleMania 30, the New Orleans crowd, myself included, will hijack that event, just like Royal Rumble got hijacked by the crowd.
Isn't it funny, too, though, Doug, that they realize that they do have such a cash cow in Daniel Bryan, but and they're not pushing the lever hard enough to get it going. Now, I don't know if this is a little bit deeper than what we can see on TV or a little bit deeper than what we know. Maybe they're trying to hold off and then have the big, for lack of a better word here, the big orgasm at the end, so to speak, by having him win the championship somehow, some way, shape, or form. Because to me, It just doesn't make a lot of sense that the biggest guy that you have is not being pushed to the rafters. Now, is there some jealousy involved with John Cena? Because he is the top guy, and he will be for as long as I can see. Is there some jealousy there? Is there some political movement there? I have to believe that there is.
Well, no, John Cena is actually a huge Daniel Bryan advocate.
Good.
And John Cena is not going to be the top guy coming up at WrestleMania 30. He's probably going to face Bray Wyatt in a singles match.
Right.
That's like what's going to happen. Daniel Bryan is the most over guy that they have, but they don't view him as the cash cow.
It's crazy.
They booked him in the main event. They booked him in the main event for their fall pay-per-views, and the fall pay-per-views did not sell well. So they do not view him as a cash cow. They view him as the most over with the fans.
Right.
But they don't view him as the guy that will lead them into the next, year as the guy that'll sell their product.
There's always an old saying, though, Doug, give the people what they want. And I know the people want to see more of Daniel Bryan because, let's face it, he is probably the best all-around technical and scientific and spontaneous professional wrestler in the business right now that I can see on a national stage. The guy's tremendous. And when he was in the Ring of Honor back as Bryan Danielson and everything else, I mean, the guy was tremendous as well. He got his big break. He's where he should be. Now, let's break away from Daniel Bryan just a little bit here and go on to another thing because, unfortunately, we don't have a ton of time to talk, but let's try to get as much as we can in with our segment. Let's move on to CM Punk because now there's some stuff going on with CM Punk. Supposedly he's gone. That's the word. He's gone. But let's hear what you have to say about it because I heard he took his ball and literally went home before Monday Night Raw came on. Now let's talk about, is this true for one? And second of all, why is it true? Why did he leave?
This has been breaking since about 2 o'clock this morning. And it's one of these issues. I feel like it's probably legitimate because of Punk's demeanor as of late, his productivity in ring. He was at Comic-Con in Portland, Oregon this past Friday before the Rumble and was shooting on things, just being honest and saying, look, Dave Bautista is one of my friends, but I don't think he should come back and win the Royal Rumble and be put in the main event because it's Daniel Bryan's year. He doesn't he was very vocal last year, saying that he didn't like the fact that The Rock came back. He doesn't like the fact that part-timers come back after many, many years gone and get directly inserted into the title picture. And he has a point. Guys are there every single night working house show after house show after house show after TV after TV after TV, busting their asses and not getting the reward. They're getting put on the guys that they do think are going to be cash cows, like you said. Yeah, but I've also heard I've heard a lot of things though, Doug, that CM Punk. Now, this is not what I'm saying because I don't know the guy, but I read things just like you do, and you obviously put it pen to paper with your website and everything, which is, by the way, WrestlingRumors.net. But there's a lot of things out there where people are talking that Punk's not getting his way. He's all about himself. He only cares about himself. Therefore, he's leaving. Do you agree with any of that? Because that's a lot of arguments right now in the last 48 hours to his side by saying that he's being this baby, and if he's not getting his way, he's literally taking his ball and going home. I don't really have a reaction or an opinion on that, but I'm wondering what you think about that. And if all these people who say that, do you think that they have some sort of stance and that they have some validity to this argument? I mean, he's if he's truly gone, which I think that tend to think that he is. He's obviously taking his ball and going home, a la Steve Austin.
Oh, hell yeah!
A couple of times.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where I don't think that he's being a baby as much as he's got money. One of the things he said at Comic-Con last Friday was, "I have money saved up. I'm not worried about collecting another paycheck.
Right.
I just go out there and do what somebody tells me to do, and then I go home." He literally said that my matches as of late have not been good because I just haven't really cared, and that I've just limited myself, honestly, to using 2 moves in the ring. And if you watch his latest stuff, it's been sloppy because his heart is not in it because he doesn't see the reward coming for guys like him, Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, these type of workhorse kind of guys. And I think that that's probably the reason that he stepped out. He bounced.
But do you think
now,
that any...
one
go ahead.
There was another one, if you're going to bring up other theories, because people will just want to say that he's a baby and that he's just not getting his way and leaving.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's multiple things. How he has not been on the same page with WWE creative for a while.
Right.
He doesn't like what he's been given to do. His contract's up in July. He was probably backstage. They were anticipating him not re-signing in July anyway, because of all these guys coming in and taking the spots of these other younger, hardworking guys that are there every single night.
Right.
And it's one of those things where reportedly they changed something up after the Rumble and gave him something different creatively to do, and he didn't like it and bounced.
Yeah, and you know, and I wonder too, with all the other guys and the girls that are in the business, who are directly behind him in the locker rooms, literally. I wonder if there's any kind of outlook and thought perception on his attitude. Now, again, I'm not saying anything for or against Punk, because I think the guy's a tremendous talent. There's no doubt about it. He's wonderful on the stick. He can wrestle with anybody. He can go whenever he wants to, and he's very good. He's got the big fan appeal. He's got the people that like him. He's got the people that hate him, and I think that's a very balanced type of wrestler. And that's what I think makes John Cena very popular, is he got people who hate him and people who like him. John Cena is not the wrestler that CM Punk is. There's very few that could really wrestle like CM Punk, and if I had my way, I would love to see CM Punk and Daniel Bryan going at it at WrestleMania and really sell that as a huge co-main event. I think that would be tremendous. I know they toyed with it for a while. They had a small feud about a year or so ago. It didn't really develop to where it should have been, and I don't know who's to blame for that or whatever, but I don't think that we're going to see the last of CM Punk, in my opinion, before his contract ends in July. Now, we have to move on a little bit here because we do have to get to Adam in about 6 or 7 minutes, but I want to go on a little bit now and talk about probably the biggest news that I've heard besides the CM Punk story is Sting. And as the Black Scorpion always said, Sting. He supposedly, and what I've been hearing is confirmed, and you always said you'll believe it when you actually see it, that he has signed a WWE contract for the Legends contract, which means they can use his likeness, they can bring him on shows and host programs like they've done with Mick Foley in the past and Booker T, and back in the day with all these other guys, Ric Flair, for instance. Again, I'm agreeing with you. Until I see it, I'll believe it then. However, this would be big, and if this is true, Doug, does this also mean that he will wrestle a match at WrestleMania, or is it strictly a contracts just like we talked about?
No. I do not see him wrestling in New Orleans.
I don't either.
I personally agree with the guy that actually confirmed that source said that he had actually signed a contract. Multiple sources said that he was in negotiations with a contract, for real this time. Discussing what he actually wants to do creatively, because he doesn't trust WWE very much creatively.
And he's been on record saying that. He said that on record. That's from his own mouth.
Oh yeah. So, Rob Feinstein said that this is done, that he has signed the deal, and that we'll likely see promos, even maybe a promo at Mania, even if it's, while they're running a video package for whatever match is coming up next, maybe the audience gets to see a promo. But they're expecting that he'll probably debut the Monday night after WrestleMania 30. Now, his contract apparently is for a Legends deal that, I would love to see him come in and host, like I said last week, I'd love to see him come in and host shows for the WCW content on the WWE Network.
Absolutely.
Perfect spot for him. Give us a fresh face. We've seen DDP, we've seen Booker T, we've seen Ric Flair.
Woo!
Give me Sting.
Woo!
Talking about
Woo!
WCW. Give me the Stinger.
I agree.
Now, but the biggest thing is they've discussed monikers for him, and they're going to refer to him as the man known as Sting, because they don't want to just say Sting, which I think is completely lame.
That is lame.
But it is what it is. This is the year to do it if it actually happens.
I agree,
because the year it looks like it's actually getting close to really happening.
I got to jump in here and say I really liked it when he was singing with the Police.
No, that's a different Sting.
Oh, you're kidding me.
That's not Gordon Sumner. Gordon Sumner is the man who sang as Sting.
See that?
Jeez,
God, come on.
Can't you?
That is not the man known as Sting.
Right. That's the man who sings like Sting.
All right.
You can sing like Sting, and you can be like Sting.
Brian gave me $25 to say that. It's all good.
And I want change from that 50. Well, you know what? All we can say is we have to sit back and wait and see what happens, and we will definitely do that. And here's another thing. There's a piece of news that I'm really looking forward to the WWE Network, because I cannot wait for that Legends House. That's going to be so freaking cool. And I actually spoke on Monday with the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Him and I talked on the phone. I'm most likely, about 98% sure, there's always that little bit that may or may not become true, but I'm most likely for certain that he's going to be on this coming show on the 4th, I do believe. No, the 5th, I think, is our next show. I don't know. I can't remember the date here.
I don't know.
I don't remember the. But anyways,
Wednesday. How
next
about that?
Wednesday. Yeah, next Wednesday. More than likely, Jimmy the Mouth of the South Hart will be on the show, and he's going to be talking about that Legends thing. And I can't wait. I can't wait for that. I think you have a really good point there, Doug, by saying bring us someone fresh to go ahead and do these shows. Sting would be a great addition to the WWE in so many ways. So we'll wait and see what happens, man. Anything else you want to talk about for the last minute here before we let you go?
No, I mean, that's what I think, man. I think that he'll be a great addition to the network. I don't want to see him work a lot of matches.
Yeah.
But again, he's a Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer, and he should go into the Hall of Fame, and likely he's going to in 2015.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that, and I think that with him going,
if the deal is signed.
Yeah. Well, that's true, and I also like the fact about him going into the Hall of Fame. I like that, especially since about a year and a half ago he went into the TNA Hall of Fame, which was the first ever inductee. So,
which is a joke.
Well, yeah. I mean, you think the TNA Hall of Fame is a joke? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, in my personal opinion, I don't want TNA to go away.
Yeah.
I like competition there. I like the talent that's over. Some of the talent that's over there is very, very good. They have very good workers.
Absolutely.
Creative is bad, but you know, it's one of those things where they've only been in business for 10 years.
Mm-hmm. I know.
You really need a Hall of Fame? I mean, that's my thing. That's why I feel like it's a joke. I mean, they announced Kurt Angle, but then he got arrested for another DUI charge and had to go to rehab and all that stuff. But he has not gone in yet.
Yeah.
But they're saying that he will go to the TNA Hall of Fame this year at some point. But at the same time, it's just kind of, no one's clamoring to go be a part of the TNA Hall of Fame ceremony.
I got to tell you something really quick before we let you go. You talked about Kurt Angle, and I interviewed him on camera when they were here for Bound for Glory. Bound for Glory in 2012 of October. And I had mentioned to him, I said, in Phoenix we have a lot of casinos out here. I said, you ever go to the casinos out here? He goes, no, it's better off I stay away from that because I have a very addictive personality. And I was like, wow, you pretty much put it on the head there. That's pretty true. Yeah, you're right about that, and we'll see what happens here with Sting. I like the idea of him coming in. I like the idea of him doing the shows like you had mentioned on the network. I wouldn't mind seeing him at WrestleMania in a match. I don't think it's going to happen like you as well, but like you said, and I echo your statements many times. I'll believe it when I see it.
Hey guys, I need to know. You guys are both going to be at the CAC, right?
I'll be at the CAC in June.
Doug, are you going?
Are you planning on coming out, Doug, to the Cauliflower Alley Club in June?
I don't know, man. I haven't made those arrangements yet. I know I'm going to New Orleans, but I haven't decided about anything else.
Okay. Why do you ask, Joe?
I was hoping we were going to do some broadcasting from out there.
Well, we will have to see what's going to go on. That's it's another 5 months away.
Let me out.
If you make it out there, I'll put you guys both in the Hall of Fame, the KQCK Hall of Fame.
The KQCK Hall of
Hey,
Fame.
And you know what? Don't shoot that one down, Doug. Hey, it's a brand new thing.
Wait a minute, you've been around less than TNA's Hall of Fame.
Well, so what? Everybody needs a Hall of Fame these days, right? I mean, come on.
That's awesome. I thought I was already in the Hall of Fame.
Well, you're on the way.
Yeah, I'm halfway there.
Another 5 years of free work, you will be in the Hall of Fame.
It's like getting your arm caught in the bus window. You're halfway on the bus, and you're halfway being dragged down the street.
Oh, you're funny.
I know. Anyway. All right. Dougie Fresh, always good hearing from you, man. Great stuff. We appreciate it. Thank you for bringing the news like you always do. As you know, Doug is a part of this program each and every Wednesday right here on KQCK.
Did you catch the rumor, though?
What rumor?
Dude, that was your cue to talk about wrestling rumors. What's wrong with you?
Oh, I already did that, but I will do it again. WrestlingRumors.net. Go check it out. All the great news is there.
There it is.
You can check it out. It's on the board right there somewhere. There it is. I think you can probably see it on your screen there, Doug. And we love to have you on the show. Thank you so much. You bring a great part to the program. You're a very integral part of the show. And stick around and listen to the interview with Adam Pearce here in a few minutes. And we'll talk to you on the air next Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Doug. Take care.
All right, Doug. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Thanks. All right, there you go. Doug McDonald from WrestlingRumors.net always brings a lot of greatness to the show in terms of the current product that's out there right now. And Doug's, I should say not Doug, but Joe is going to go ahead and dial up Scrap Iron Adam Pearce. We're going to get him on the air and talk about some stuff here. And we're going to discuss his career. And again, keep in mind, folks, after Adam's interview is over, are you going to remain in the studio for that? Are you going to stay here for the whole show? Okay, because I'd like to see about taking some calls if we could. And again, if you want to do that, 480-745-1033 is the phone number. We'll do that after Adam's interview. Again, 480-745-1033. Would love to have you call in and talk about, what you thought about Royal Rumble, what you think about the WWE, what you think about CM Punk, what you think about Adam Pearce, what you think about anything involved in professional wrestling. We are doing the show for you, the fans out there, and we do thank you very much for tuning in each and every Wednesday. Don't forget, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 4 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Central, and 7 o'clock Eastern, right here on KQCK.com. And we always love having you on the program, like always. And we love talking to Doug there from WrestlingRumors.net and discussing the current product and, going back in the days when, the 80s and the 90s and the 70s and stuff like that. It's always good. It's all about professional wrestling, which is a big passion of mine.
And right before we bring Mr. Adam on.
Yes.
We got David Bender out there, one of your devout and loyal fans.
Yep.
Checking you out here, and very excited about the interview, very excited about your show. I just thought maybe you could do a quick shout-out to Mr. David Bender out there.
I've been on a few benders myself in the day, and I think that David Bender is the best bender I've ever seen.
Stop.
God bless you, David Bender, for listening to the show, and thank you so much for being a wrestling fan. That's awesome, and I'm sure he's going to love this interview we got coming up right now with a good buddy of mine. He's a 5-time NWA heavyweight champion. He's got pretty much every title you can think of in the independent circuit. He's been everywhere from Australia to Japan to Mexico. There probably hasn't been a state that he hasn't wrestled in, but I'm going to pick his brain and see where he has not wrestled in. I don't know many people who've wrestled in Montana. Maybe he has. We'll find out. But let's bring him on the air right now here to Off the Top Rope Radio with Brian Shank and Joe C. on KQCK. Mr. Scrap Iron, Adam Pearce. What's up, my friend?
Shankster, my brother. How are you, sir?
I am wonderful, and I love it when you call me the Shankster. That always makes me feel good,
Hey, I'm taking it back to the old days.
The old
We're
days.
going old school right now with the Shankster.
Old days like Chicago. Old days. I won't sing it, but no, it's good to have you on, man. I've been seeing your name appear quite a bit here recently, and if you're lucky enough to have Adam Pearce as your friend on Facebook, you get some really cool and interesting and funny updates all the time. I love the one you put on there last week, and it was hysterical. And I love it when Adam does this on his Facebook page. He'll put like a little playwright kind of type of thing on there. He says, me, fan, and he'll do like the dialogue. And he says he was some airport eating something, and the guy says, excuse me, are you a wrestler? And Adam says, who, me? No. He says, oh, my friend says you look like Scrap Iron Adam Pearce. He goes, no, I'm just sitting here enjoying this BLT sandwich. I love that because that is such a great way of saying, buzz off, I don't want to be bothered, I'm in an airport eating, instead of saying, hey, buzz off, I'm in an airport eating. I love the way you handle that.
Maybe he just really likes a BLT.
Well, I like BLTs too, but I thought that was an awesome way that you did that, Adam. That made me laugh out loud, dude. Good job on that. Bravo to you.
It was funny, too, because the guy that came over had no idea who I was. But his buddy I had seen at shows up in the San Francisco Bay Area, that's where I was, and obviously knew who I was. And so then I'm telling his buddy, no, I'm just enjoying this BLT, and the guy's looking at his buddy going, no, I know that's him. So they were confused, and I was just laughing internally the entire time. 'Cause I knew the guy knew who I was, and I knew who he was, but I wasn't putting it over at all.
I find it funny that the guy had his friend come up to you. Why didn't he just come up to you and ask you if you wanted some mayo for the BLT or something like that? Something kind of, creative or something like that. It doesn't, But
I don't know. It was weird. Great question. Very, very weird. But things happen. It's odd.
Yeah. Speaking of these fans out there, Adam, and this interview that we're going to have, this is just two old friends talking, and there's no real big structure to our interviews. What are you going off?
I've got a question.
Oh, wait, okay, hold on a minute. Joe C., the producer of the show and the CEO of KQCK. That's a lot of letters.
Brian's been with me a long time, doing this show a long time, and he's been hitting me with this. And I think we had you on Brian's first show with Diamond Dallas, right? I remember that. And ever since that show, Brian, his claim to fame, and I must say it's a great one, because I know you're a superstar. He says he helped you get started in the business. Is there any truth to that, or can I go and kick him in the head?
No, it's 100% true.
Come on.
First of all, I dare say I'm a superstar, but yeah, all credit or discredit depending upon your perspective, should go to Brian Shank. He was doing TV back in the Chicagoland area years and years ago, and I was a teenager and a fan of his work even then, if you can believe it. And he connected me to the right people, and here we are almost, now I'm going on 19 years in this business. It's crazy.
20 years, dude. I started the show in December 15th, 1994 was the first show that me and Danny Bartels, my good longtime friend and radio tag team and TV tag team co-host, started the show back in December of 94. And Adam was a fan. I wish I kept all those cool artworks that you wrote in, man. Those were so freaking awesome. We used to have the Fantasy Wrestling Association or whatever it was called, and Adam was quite an artist. And he used to create these wrestlers as a teenager. And, a great mind. He had finishes, he had moves, he had looks, he had designs, he had nicknames. It was tremendous. And when I got those from Adam, I said, man, this guy's got a great mind for the business. I hope one day he follows his dream. And all I did was just call up a friend of mine, Sonny Rogers, and Randy Ritchie was involved back in the day. And Sonny Rogers is great talent in this business and a great guy. If you know Sonny, you love Sonny. That's all I can say. And I just told him, hey, give this kid a shot. Bring him down, see what you can do for him. Be a favor to me because I think he's got what it takes. He's got the passion. He's got the look. He's got the brains for it, and I'm sure that he definitely can do something well inside the squared circle. And Sonny's like, for you, Shankster, I'll do that. Bring him on down, tell him to come on down and see me. And that's all I did. I just opened up a little door. Adam walked through it, kicked the door down, opened up a bunch of other doors on his own, and has been kicking ass for 19 years in this business. So
I definitely look at you differently now, Brian. Because there's a fly on your head. But great story, and glad to smash that rumor, and good job there, Brian, getting our international superstars out there and right here down to KQCK.
Well, Adam deserves all the credit because he has the talent to do so, and that's how I feel. So I'm very proud of Adam Pierce. He's a hell of a good guy. So
well, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And and the thing is too is that we look at professional wrestling going back to our days, Adam, 20 years ago, and that was kind of in the height of WCW kind of going into a different direction pre-Hulk Hogan a couple years anyway, and we saw a big turn of the WWF back in the day. 94, 95 was a weird time for the World Wrestling Federation back in the day, and you were getting involved with it, and then of course the NWO was a big part of it. You really kind of got in at the right time. And I remember the matches that you wrestled in your early years, at the Great Lakes Naval Base for Shady Tom Shade. We all know him.
Right.
And just the way you developed through there. Take us back a little bit in your beginning years. Was there ever a time that when you first started out, when you got your first big break and got in there and really started wrestling matches, was there ever a time where you just said, you know what, I don't know if I can handle this. This may not be for me. It looked better on paper than when I actually got involved. Or did you always say, I'm going to be the best that I can?
Looking back on it, it's pretty funny. I've never, ever had that thought. I never once looked at doing what I've done now almost 2 decades long and thought it was the wrong move. Mm-hmm. And you would know this, Brian, coming into pro wrestling, I was a pretty good football player and had aspirations in doing that in college and had some medical things that kind of took that away from me.
Yep.
So pro wrestling gave me an avenue back into athletics more than anything, and the competition and whatnot, even though what we do is predetermined. Mm-hmm. There was never, so I'm one of the weird guys in that I never made it an aspiration to main event WrestleMania. Okay, so I was just happy to be able to do things that were athletic again, and pro wrestling, just doors kept opening and opening and opening and opening. Mm-hmm. So really everything beyond my first match has been icing on the cake, and it's been a hell of a journey.
Yeah, and I remember going back to those days where I would see wrestlers come through the dressing rooms, and some of the legends would come in. You always had wrestling cards on the independent circuit. Joe Smith versus Mark Reynolds, and you had Jimmy Parker versus Dave Blue, and then you had like British Beefcake versus Jimmy Snuka. That was always how the independent circuit worked. And I remember we were on a few of those cards. I was either ring announcing or being a manager for the Berlin Bomber or something like that back in the day. But to see how you progress on that, really cool, because you also got involved with many wrestling independent promotions throughout the world. And I like what you just said. You said, I never inspired to be head main event guy at WrestleMania. That wasn't my goal. My goal was to go out there and do what I could do and where my talents would take me. And I applaud that, because it's very easy for people who've been in the business for 20 years like yourself and say, I feel like I haven't got my big break. I don't feel like I've gotten anywhere. I don't feel like, I like how you do it because you got a great family, a beautiful wife, 2 great kids, and you travel this world and you make a living doing this. I don't think a lot of people really comprehend that. You make a living out of doing what you love. And if you can do that, I think that's half of the problem right there solved in terms of what we want to do in life. I think that's great.
Yeah, I think the unique thing about me and just kind of taking a step back, and if you can get outside the bubble for a second and just reflect on what you've been able to do, not having those WrestleMania aspirations has taken away a lot of the heartache that a lot of my compadres and friends have felt when they've worked for WWE or TNA and then have been fired for what they feel is something stupid. It's like getting your heart ripped out.
Yeah.
So having never really set myself to want to do that, and this is the end-all be-all, I never had to go through that. It lets you live a little bit less jaded and a little bit less bitter than a lot of guys end up in our business, because it's very much cutthroat and dog-eat-dog, and I'm happy to eat the table scraps, brother.
That's why you're scrap iron Adam Pearce, eating those scraps, baby. And in case you are just tuning in here to Off the Top Rope Radio with Brian Shank and Joe C., heard exclusively on KQCK.com, we are speaking to the legend in my mind and a good friend of mine, 5-time NWA heavyweight champion, like I said, numerous amounts of titles. I would list some of them, but I can't get the internet signal here on my Kindle, so I don't really have a chance to read a lot of those. But,
Brian's technologically challenged today.
Well, I think it's your studio.
No, I'm pretty sure it's your Kindle.
It's your studio. So
you don't bring a Kindle to
No, I brought the Kindle.
I was trying to come up with something clever there. You don't bring a Kindle to a something fight.
Yeah,
I couldn't come up with that word.
If I had a signal, I can get his stuff. That's your fault, isn't it? I mean,
buddy, put your tinfoil hat I gave you on, it will come in.
Okay, I'm not going to. We'll talk about this later. We got Adam Pearce on the phone here, but I think that's wonderful words, and I think what you just said there is really very valid. To find that happiness in this business, and it is cutthroat. It is very dog eat dog, and it's very political, like you said. And you mentioned some of the guys that have been there who are very good friends of yours. CM Punk, a very good friend of yours. Daniel Bryan, a very good friend of yours. I think Colt Cabana is a tremendous talent. I mean, we talk about some of these guys who have been at the upper echelon in professional wrestling. You've been there, and how proud are you of CM Punk, for instance, and Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, for where they have gotten in this business so far?
It's interesting, too, to see all those guys come up, even guys, to add to the list, guys like Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels.
Yeah.
I've been in the unique position, both as a talent in the ring and as a booker, a guy behind the scenes who's handling a lot of the business side of things, to have worked with these guys in multiple ways. And, you mentioned Punk, you mentioned Bryan, you mentioned Cabana. I've been on both sides of the ropes with those guys and have seen them progress. And a lot of what happens in this business is what you make of it. You're dealt a certain hand when you work for, global conglomerates like WWE or TNA or even some of the Japanese companies, where you pretty much are to do what you're told, and you got to make that chicken salad out of the other side of things. So just watching them get to the level they are and connect with the fans. I mean, this is the kind of thing that I've seen them do for years, and to see them do it on a global scale now is gratifying, and really nothing that I didn't expect from them. There's a reason why they've been tremendous and tremendously over wherever they've gone, because they have that intangible, that it factor that we talk about that nobody can define. Those 3 guys in particular, Colt, Punk, and Daniel Bryan, obviously have that, and I think the audience resonates with them.
Well, and you do as well. I'm going to put you right in that category, because I think as much credit and as much talent as they offer to this business, like those 3 that we mentioned, you're right up there. I mean, I always picture, when I hear CM Punk, and I hear Daniel Bryan, I hear Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe and these guys, I always think about Adam Pearce, because I know the history you've had with these guys personally. Your brothers, your blood brothers. You've broken, you've sweat, you've eaten on the road, you've driven in cars, you've stunk up hotel rooms. I mean, you've peed in pools, I'm sure. I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened with Adam Pearce involved, and it's tremendous. And I like the history involved. And I want to go back a little bit, Adam, because somebody had sent me, I think I had like 2 or 3 emails on this, and I can't pull them up right now, but the gist of the emails were, please ask Adam this question. It has to do with your recent TNA appearance last year, and I just want to throw out kind of what they were saying, because I remember not verbatim what they were saying, but kind of the gist of what they were saying. And it was along the lines of, can you kind of tell us from Adam's lips himself if he can answer this for us. And it was the whole thing that was involved where you were competing to get a job. First of all, was that a true storyline, or was it a work? And this is just something from fans, so I want to make sure that they get passed on. Was it a work?
Sure.
Was it true? And when you were let go from that, Was that real by them letting you go on TV? Was it a work? And were you that's kind of funny, but were you supposed to come back in the future as part of a storyline down the road? And it was kind of like all that. So if you can, and I'm sure you've been asked this a billion times since it's happened, but
Sure.
But let's go ahead and discuss that, because I want the fans out there who have taken the time to write in and ask these questions, if you can just kind of like take us from beginning to end on that and just kind of discuss the whole matter, work, shoot, all that stuff. Let us know what the deal is on that.
Sure. I love answering this question because it's amazing that in 2014 now, when everybody understands that professional wrestling is scripted entertainment, that there would be people who wonder if what they saw on TV was real.
I know. But I had to ask it. So.
They're talking about TNA Gut Check, which was put together as a reality television segment on a pro wrestling show.
Right.
So if we assume that reality television is anything but, and we assume that professional wrestling is scripted, then why would a reality TV segment on a professional wrestling program be any different?
I love that explanation. I think it's great. I love it.
Of course, I was contracted for 2 dates by TNA Wrestling and fulfilled the obligations therein for those 2 dates. Did exactly what I was told. Tried to do it to the best of my ability. And of course, you'd like to see what kind of doors open up from that. There's been some changing of the guard behind the scenes at TNA without putting my size 13 in my mouth and saying more than I should. Gut Check for me was exactly what it was supposed to be. I totally appreciate the resounding support that I got from the fans after the appearance. And I'm not going to lie, it was pretty gratifying for them to be upset when I was then let go.
Yeah.
Again, keeping in mind that I knew what was supposed to happen.
Right.
For the fans to react completely opposite of what the booking was supposed to be, and have that be in my positive favor, I mean, if that feels good, I think, to any talent to be wanted to have that kind of support. When you're trending worldwide on Twitter and things like that, it feels good.
Yeah.
That said, that wasn't my job. My job was to get the other guy over, and it didn't work out that way. So, I mean, you can look at it as a positive for me, the way the reaction was, but at the end of the day, the business, the reason why I was there, didn't come out the way it was supposed to, and I feel real bad for my opponent that night. His name was Magno. He just had an off night, and the people turned on him, and it sucks.
Yeah, they did, and it was an off night for him, and I think there was a couple things there that probably could have been tightened up a little bit, but you know what? It was, and it was good for what it was. But I guess the other part of the question, too, is they said, were you supposed to come back in some way, shape, or form? Because let's not forget, there was a part of the TNA teasing with a silhouette with a... I don't want to say bald head, but I would say a hairless cranium that kind of resembled Mr. Adam Pearce. And there was a lot of talk, I mean tons, dude, about that being you on TNA.
Right.
And it wasn't. I loved how you played it out so good. And then you did that video on your website or whatever it was where you I can't remember what it was, but where you showed the girl with the nice looking underwear on, and said,
"Say what?
You had other things to do." You crack me up because you're the same Adam Pearce I knew 20 years ago.
I have to interrupt and say something, and I don't know you very well, Adam Pearce, Mr. Scrap Iron, but I'm looking at your photo here, dude, and I think, and I don't know, maybe you've already been in some movies, but I think you should be a movie star. Any movies or what? This guy's got a great look. I'd have found him too, man.
I did one movie, a Charlie Sheen movie that came out in 2012. It was called She Wants Me. It was a straight-to-video type thing, and I'll give anyone $1,000 that can find me in it. But I am in the credits. I'll have you know.
Well, you know what?
Wait a minute.
I can see him in some action, like former Steven Seagal type of stuff. He's got that. He's got that look, man.
He does have the look. He's always, and if you look at his Facebook page, I mean, he's got like a lot of pictures he took professionally. And no, he does have that look to him, and it's funny you said that because a lot of people said he kind of has that Bruce Willis look to him, and everything else. But
sure.
I want to go back to the $1,000 thing. Hold on a second. If I find you in that movie, you're going to give me $1,000? You owe me $1,000.
I'm actually.
If you listen, if you can find it, it's called She Wants Me. Hilary Duff was in it. Newman from Seinfeld, of course, Charlie Sheen. A bunch of guys were in it. It was a lot of fun. It was probably I don't ever want to say never, but it was certainly it was the first and possibly last foray into Hollywood that I'll have. We'll see. I don't have an agent. If you know a good one, point them my way.
Yeah? All right. Well, if anybody's listening out there who wants to book Adam Pearce for anything.
I'm just sitting here kind of feeling funny about the whole thing right now. You know what I mean? I'm just having a problem with, I'm looking at the photo going, what's up?
That's because you're a funny guy.
I'm going to publicly say it's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
Funny how? How am I funny?
You can just stop. You can just stop. You can just stop there because it's funny to me and it's making me feel weird. And Brian's giving me. He's like tickling me under the table and stuff.
Did you
stop it, Brian?
Did you hear what Adam just said? Adam said.
I heard him. I heard him. Adam, I'll send you a private Facebook message. Okay? Was that allowed? Yeah. Oh my God.
You better add him to your friends list there because his updates and stuff, his statuses are hilarious. You'll love it. So definitely get Adam Pearce on your life. You see Joe Carrero send you a friend request,
you block him right away, right?
Do you ever have to not? Do you ever have to not accept a friend request out there, Adam? I mean, being in your position on who you are and what you do for this business and what you do for a living, do you ever just say nope? I'm not adding you on there.
Facebook's weird. Before,
yeah, it is.
And this is kind of going back to wrestling. I broke in before the internet really even meant anything. It was a baby in its infancy when I started wrestling in '95, so it didn't have the effect on society, much less wrestling, that it has today.
Yeah.
I use it as a marketing tool.
Yeah.
And it is what it is, and it's a way to keep in contact with friends and whatnot. But also, I use it for business more than anything else.
You do it well.
So I'll pretty much add anybody unless you're a goof
or confronted with a BLT.
Those people out.
Can't you hear what Joe just said? Or if you're confronted with a BLT.
And then you're not getting on.
If you buy me a BLT, though, I will add you.
Yes! There you go, everybody. Send a BLT to Adam Pearce, San Diego, California, 90, whatever. No, but we are speaking to Scrap by Adam Pearce. It's always great, talking to you on the air here because you're a very good friend, and, I love you to death. And I'm very happy because coming up at the Cauliflower Alley Club this year in June 2nd to the 4th, we will be having an induction of Mr. Adam Pearce into the Cauliflower Alley Club as the Active Men's Wrestling Award, Men's Award as they call it, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
I'm looking forward to this because, it's tremendous that you're going to be a person involved in this because you definitely well deserve that. I believe Mick Karch is going to say a few words for you, and I believe Dave Marquez, who you know quite well from your NWA days and whatever else, are going to be saying a few things. I didn't get the email about saying anything with you, for you, so I guess I must check my other folder. But no, that's all good. I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy that you're going to be doing that because you deserve that. You are actively wrestling. You are still out there busting your ass each and every week. We always welcome and love reading your status reports on Facebook, knowing where you're going to be, where you're going to do, and who you're going to wrestle and all that stuff. So congratulations, because to be in the Ring of Friendship known as the Cauliflower Alley Club and be involved and be recognized as what you're going to be in June, that's a tremendous honor, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really gratifying and humbling in a lot of ways. For people that aren't familiar with what the Cauliflower Alley Club is, I mean, you can liken it to the Screen Actors Guild,
yes,
but for professional wrestlers.
Yep.
So to be honored this year with the 2014 Active Award on the men's side of things is crazy. It's not something you ever really think about when you're out there performing, but to have the respect of your peers and the legends of our business who are responsible for making those decisions every year is incredibly humbling.
It is.
I think as a performer and somebody who really cares about our industry, to have that kind of respect bestowed upon you by people that you both have run the roads with and looked up to for years. It pretty much says it all. I think it's as close to any Hall of Fame as I'm ever going to be in, and it's a true honor. It really is.
Yeah, the Cauliflower Alley Club, if you're not involved in that, I definitely recommend you going to their website. caulifloweralleyclub.org is, I believe, the website off the top of my head.
Right.
Check it out and just read a little bit. Get involved in what it has to do with professional wrestling, because you likened it to the SAG, the SAG, the Screen Actors Guild Awards, or I shouldn't say awards, but, brotherhood, so to speak. And it's interesting because we do so much for each other in that. They raise money for wrestlers who are injured that can't afford any kind of medical coverage or any kind of surgeries. They get the money together from donations and whatever else, and from funds and from fees and everything, and they help each other out. And that's that's tremendous because, unfortunately, a lot of professional wrestlers, they may not have saved their money. They may not have made a lot of money over the years, but they've given their heart and their soul and their bodies for everything and anything involved in this great sport of professional wrestling. And now they're being able to, through the help of their friends and their brothers and sisters in the CAC, to get some of that back. And I think that's tremendous. That's a wonderful thing that we're all about, the CAC. When you go to this in Las Vegas, yeah, you have your people who are there just to get pictures and autographs and do this and everything else. But those who kind of get it and those who have been involved with it for a while, it really is something of a special moment for a couple, 3-4 days. And I can't say anything much more about it. I love the CAC.
Yeah, same here, man. Last year I had the fortune to be asked by the Moody family to accept Percy Pringle and Paul Bearer's Lou Thez Award on behalf of him. Obviously, he passed away. God rest his soul. Was a tremendous friend of mine. Yep. That's one of the biggest honors of my life. Not just wrestling, but in general. Yep. And to be a part of that last year, and then to be kind of honored this year is again kind of icing on the cake for me. And just one of those things you never expect. And I don't know, I liken it to the other day, so I said to somebody, when they start giving you awards, usually they're kicking you in the ass out the door on the way out pretty soon. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to hang around for a little while, I think.
Attaboy. And you talked about Mr. William Moody, Paul Bearer, Percy Pringle III, Percival Pringle III, back in World Class Championship Wrestling days, and then later on known as the USWA, and we can go on with that forever because you and I know the histories, but he passed away just a month before he was supposed to be honored with an award, and I thought that was a very solemn moment and very special when you got up there and spoke. And I remember when you and I were talking at the bowling alley at the Gold Coast Hotel there in Las Vegas, and we were, putting a few beers back down our throats, and you said, I loved him. I love that man. He was so special to me, and I liked what you said too, and hopefully I'm not getting too out there publicly with what we discussed personally, but you told me that when you guys got together and hung out, you talked about pretty much everything except professional wrestling, which to me, that's pretty special because that means that's a true friend, because I know a lot of friends that I know, they have an idea what a wrestling ring looks like, but we have some of the greatest talks and some of the greatest moments together as friends, and that, I think, is really, like you just said a moment ago, the icing on the cake.
Yeah, absolutely. Percy to me was a mentor. He was somebody I could lean on. I could certainly go to him with anything wrestling related. But he was just a good man, an honest, good man that loved his family and really kind of strung a lot of the same, plucked a lot of the same heartstrings that I do. We just had a lot in common, and I think there was a mutual respect, obviously built through time because of professional wrestling. But you grow to admire somebody for everything that they become outside of it once you get to know them. And like I said to you then, I'd get together with Perce, and wrestling was the last thing we didn't end up talking about. It was college football or our families or whatever. And I miss him. I miss him every day. He was a light, man. He was one of those guys that if you had the opportunity and the good fortune to meet him, chances are you made a friend for life. That's just the kind of guy he was. And fortunately, before he passed, he got to see his Crimson Tide win one more national title against Notre Dame. Right. So that was cool for him. And like you said, you talk college football and with him and stuff like that. I got to meet him one time. We talked for a couple minutes, but he didn't know me, and I would have really loved to have gotten to know him and stuff like that. But and that's kind of how he was. And even on his Facebook page, he's like, don't take this the wrong way if I don't accept you as a friend, because this is more about personal people that I know and everything else. And I totally respected that. That was cool, and I wish I feel that if he would have, been living to this day, I probably would have known him now for a good 8 or 9 months, and maybe he would be on my show next week or whatever. But like you said, tremendous talent, tremendous man, a very loving father, and a very loving person of this great business known as professional wrestling. So, Adam Pearce, before we go, if there's anything that you'd like to talk about, I know I want to discuss a little bit before you go about the 7 levels of hate. Kind of tell us a little bit about that DVD that you have out there. Give us a little rundown of what it is, how they can get it, and tell us how well it's been selling, because from what I understand, this is actually selling more copies than Titanic back in 1999.
Wow.
That's what I've heard. I also heard it's really close to selling more copies than E.T. on video cassette.
I heard it hit Oprah. Didn't it hit Oprah a couple of weeks ago?
Oprah's next week, I believe.
Okay.
So, but I want to get the words from Mr. Adam Pearce directly, so kind of tell us a little bit about that.
7 Levels of Hate is basically the story behind the story that was the 2.5-year, 3-year feud between myself and Colt Cabana over the NWA World Title, and kind of the entire story, how it came about, what happened, it went into a 7-match series, and then the NWA changed ownership, and it kind of threw a monkey wrench into everything. So being in the advantageous position to have all the footage and the access to everyone involved, I sat down with 22 guys, and we talked about the story and how things went about and how things went awry, and obviously how things ended up, and where Cabana and myself have gone on since then. And as you mentioned, Brian, it's been selling tremendously. If you're interested in more information, please go to 7levelsofhate.com, all spelled out. The trailers are on there. Multiple videos are on there that you can kind of whet your appetite and see if it's something you're into. For fans of Colt Cabana, I think it's a good look into a different side of him as both a performer and a person. Mm-hmm. And if you're a fan of the NWA and the history of that championship, it was one of the more pivotal moments, especially in the modern era of the championship. So happy to be part of that, obviously, and happy to be able to tell that story to people. And, man, I've had to reorder it several times. So thank you to the good fans of pro wrestling who appreciate good people and good pro wrestling, because you helped me put plates on my table, and I can't thank you enough for that.
Well, I got to ask you a question before we go, because I know Joe C. doesn't usually get involved too much in interviews. I know he's taken a liking to you, and he's found this interview very interesting. And I thought maybe, I'm not going to be one to always reach out my hand. I'm not trying to get anything for free there. But do you happen to have maybe a little copy that you could send your old buddy Brian Schenk here, and let us watch that, and let me pass it on to Joe so you can get a good idea of what Adam Pearce is all about. You have an extra copy laying around you could throw our way?
Yeah, shoot me a text. We'll talk about that later on. But, I think I can make something happen.
Right on. I mean, I'm not trying to get anything free out of
you. And you know what? We don't have a picture of him on our wall of fame.
Yeah.
What is up with that?
Okay, Adam, before you go, I'm looking right now.
You're letting me down, Shankster.
No, wait a minute now. I'm trying to make reconciliation here.
All right.
I'm looking over at the Wall of Fame. I'm looking at the Wall of Fame right now. Okay, we have a Wall of Fame of professional wrestlers who have been on the show or whatever else. I'm looking right now. I'm going to read them off to you. Just these are autographed pictures of the people on the wall.
And there's a stack that we haven't put up yet.
I know.
For no reason other than we just haven't put them up yet.
Or you're late.
Because Shankster hasn't come in to do it. But go ahead.
Oh, I haven't come in to do it.
I'm not past the buck.
You got the hammer and nails over there.
All right, anyway.
Who lives here? Come on. Come on. Larry Zbyszko, your buddy Samoa Joe, Stan Hansen, Mr. Lariat himself, Honky Tonk Man, Jeff Hardy. We got an AWA poster with Jimmy Snuka, Larry the Axe Henning, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Rock and Roll Buck Zumhoff, Nick Bockwinkel.
Are you going to read them all?
Yeah, one of the greatest heavyweight champions of them all. Earl Hebner, Diamond Dallas Page, Marcus Buff Bagwell, of course. We also have over there Mr. Nick Bockwinkel again with a solo picture, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Demolition Smash, Baby Doll, Mr. Tully Blanchard and Dusty Rhodes' valet, Tito Santana, Boris Zukov, and who's the other one over there? Oh, Black Bart from the NWA days. So I think we ought to get we
got a perfect spot for Scrap Iron
right next to Nick Bockwinkel and Demolition Smash. I think that's a good open spot. Yeah, how's that sound?
That sounds great. I think it fit right in.
All right. Well, I'm gonna send you a text, and like I said, I'm not trying to get anything free out of you. I'm just saying let's go ahead.
I want a free photo.
I know you are.
You know why? Because I just like the guy.
Well, you always tell me, hey, make sure you ask for a photo. Make sure you get autographed.
I'm like, get it free. Yeah. See if they'll send us $10 with it. Come on.
Well, no, he's not going to.
I'm kidding. Shut up, Brian.
Send us $10. But hey, you know what? If I can find him in that movie, I'm going to get 1,000.
Hey, you know what?
That's right.
Yeah. All right. All right, Scrap Iron, we'll talk online here. I'll send you my address some if you feel like doing that. That'd be sweet because I know that Joe would love to see it.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. We'd love to have you on the wall, actually.
I'd like to see it. And you know what?
I need to clarify though. If I send you the picture, Joe, is that going to make you feel even more funny?
You know what? I was thinking about that. I was going to go ahead and photocopy it and see if I was going to stick it maybe in the house somewhere. Yeah. Maybe and I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe not.
I got a better idea. Here's a better idea.
I'm going to seek therapy for this, okay? And we'll talk about this next time you're on. See how I'm doing.
And Joe's not usually like this. Trust me.
No, I'm not. It's all right.
Here's the thing, Adam. I'll tell you what. If you want to send the DVD to us and let us watch it, and everything else, let him get an idea of who you are. Just if you want to just sign the cover of the DVD, we'll put that right up on there in the frame.
I promise not to watch it late at night by myself.
Yeah. Well, I hope not.
That's what she said.
That'd be awesome. No, that'd be perfect. You just sign that. We'll put that on the wall. I think that would mean more than anything. Having
somebody just sent me a text. Marie might like the picture. Yeah, now people are going to be hammering me all week for this.
Maria's his wife. Very, very nice looking wife. She'll love that picture of Adam. I guarantee.
That's all right.
She may leave you.
She might.
Well, she almost did for me, but we're gonna.
That'll be the first time.
Oh, boom! I love it. Adam, you know what? You should be my co-host.
And you know what's funny? We're already friends on Facebook. I already checked because I was going to send him a request. We're already friends. It's like, what the heck?
It took me.
We go way back, Shankster. We go way back.
It took me 3 weeks to get a request from him.
Whoa.
Gee, some friend I am, I guess, huh? Hey, got me in the business, but I ain't going to... No, I'm just kidding you, buddy. Hey, Adam, listen, it's always good talking. You know, I send you a text from time to time, and we always try to chat when we can. And I think we need to do that a little bit. We need to do that a little more often. I know you're a busy man, but listen, God bless you. Be safe on the roads out there. Be safe up in the air. Always love that family. I know you do very much. Take good care of yourself. I wish you nothing always but the best in this wrestling business and in life as general. You're a good friend, man. I love you to death, and we're going to have you back on the show here relatively soon. I'll be in touch with you, and like I said, always good wishes to you, and like you always said, like Harley Race, best in sports, my friend.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Send me that text.
You got it, brother. I will.
Hey, thanks again.
All right. There you
Thank
go.
you, guys. Take care.
All right.
Got it.
Bye-bye.
Scrap Iron Adam Pearce right there. One of the greatest interviews we ever did right there.
I'll tell you what we're going to do, even though we've gone a little bit over. I'm going to go ahead and make time for one call. If somebody wants to call in and
You got a phone already there?
we do.
You want to put him on the phone?
Let's do it.
All right. Welcome to Off the Top Rope Radio on KQCK. Who's this?
Shanksta.
Yeah.
Diggity Deck.
Hey, Diggity Dak.
Diggity Dak.
Calling us from Minnesota.
How you doing, my friend?
Yes.
Cold.
How you guys doing?
I got to ask you a question, Diggity Dak. How cold is it in Minnesota?
All right.
How cold is it?
I couldn't tell. Actually, I can't tell you right off the top of my head 'cause I'm in my bedroom and I don't have access to my computer.
And he's frozen.
He never
back
It is,
there.
but
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It's 71 degrees here today.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Man, so how you doing, my friend?
What's up, Diggity Dak?
It's going well. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Going great. What?
How'd you enjoy the interview?
The Scrap Daddy interview, that was very good. Enjoyed it very much.
Glad you liked it. What's on your mind, man?
All right, so Rumble the other night. Definitely, as I said in the email I sent you a little bit ago, the Daniel Bryan Bray Wyatt match of the night. I agree with
Doug?
McDaniel there or McDonald there, Doug, yeah.
Yep.
On that one, the Big Show Lesnar didn't really care for it. Can't get into that feud. Orton, Cena, no surprise. Orton retaining. Wyatt's attack after the match looked like it's setting up a feud between Cena and Bray.
Yep.
And then Batista winning the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
As I also said in the email at the end, all friends of Triple H. Just saying.
Well, no, you have a good point there because, like I said earlier with Doug on the phone, is there some political pull here? Is there some sort of, well, maybe we should get him in there because he's an old friend of mine? It's very possible. I don't know for sure. I mean, here's the thing. I look at Batista returning after 4 years in the business, about 4 years. The last time I saw him on TV was when he was arguing about being in a wheelchair when he lost against John Cena. He was all broken up and hurt and everything else. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Him coming back is a big pop. It's a big pop. But again, just like all big pops, they eventually tend to just go away a bit. Some are bigger than others. Some are less than others. I don't know how much strength Batista has bringing the WWE into WrestleMania. This is a big, big show at WrestleMania. And let's think about it here, Diggity Dak. We had 30th anniversary, and here's Mick Foley talking about how the WWE has dropped the ball in letting Batista win. Whether that's a work thing or whether it's a shoot, I don't know either way. But still, I kind of say to myself, is this the type of match you want to see at WrestleMania? I don't know how many people really want to see that in New Orleans.
Well, with my opinion, with pay-per-views being $45 for standard, $55 for high def, I'm very much considering getting the WWE Network.
Yeah.
Because with pay-per-views being included, I forgot to add one more thing that I put in the email. The highlights for the Cena-Orton match for me were the "This is awful" and "We want divas" chants by the fans. Of course, now some might say I may be one of them, I may not, but with Orton Cena, that was the divas match of the night.
You're cruel, man. How dare you say
more so Orton than Cena.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's why we like the callers to call in and the fans who express their opinions. Right. You know what? I may not agree with it. I may agree with it. I don't know. I'm not going to say either way. But, hey, you got your opinion. You're the one that pays for the pay-per-views. You're the ones that go out there and watch it and report it and talk about it. And, if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. I think there's a lot of people who were not really happy with the Royal Rumble. But let's think about it, Diggity Dak. When was the last time you can remember with any real big pay-per-view? I'm talking about the big four: SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series. When was the last time you really said, wow, That was one hell of a pay-per-view. Can you remember the last time you said that?
Well, I don't get pay-per-views that often. I really don't.
But you watch them after the fact,
TNA,
right?
Yeah.
If it's TNA, WWE, UFC, I mean, they gotta really bring it, in my opinion, to make me want to pay the money for it.
Yeah, I know. And that's why a lot of people.
Regardless of what pay-per-view it is.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying that, like they're not bringing it. A lot of people say in comments, and I'm not making an opinion here. I'm just stating the news and stuff that I see, and by saying people's opinions and comments, to me that's news. And they say to me it's a glorified Raw match, it's a glorified SmackDown match, it was a glorified house show match. And to me, when I sit there and think $45, $55, you better have something really special. And I think the Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan match was just that. Now, I don't know if every match on the card can be like that, but that was a good one.
That was the only one that it brought it. I was very impressed with that match. In fact, I've watched Rumble two or three. I didn't buy it live. I bought the replay, and then I've watched it actually 2-3 times since.
Yeah. Are you getting excited about the? Are you getting excited about the WWE Network coming up? I know I am. That's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I'm. Well, if I can get permission from the grandparents, I'm very much looking forward to getting it. So, pay-per-views included, all the the library they own, AWA, ECW, WCW, all of that.
What does that cost? Is that expensive?
Library.
No, it's yeah. Huh? No, you made a good point there, Diggity Dag. It's a great thing. It's only $9.95 a month.
We should do a giveaway for something like that. We should start. We got to start. You got to start getting up to the plate here, Brian. Come on.
No way.
Yeah, you're getting all 12 pay-per-views, starting with Mania, and then all this content, and then we'll see what all these other shows. I was very impressed watching the presentation at the CES show in Vegas when they had it here a few weeks back.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you a question. Were you serious about the grandparents thing, or was that just kind of like a little joke?
Why would it be a joke?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, my grandpa, he's into wrestling. Grandma, she more or less tolerates the fact that we watch it.
All right, is Grandpa there? Is Grandpa there right now? What?
Brian, what are you doing? What are you getting at, Brian?
They're off doing their own thing right now. So.
Well, wait a second.
At a casino.
Wait a second. You're in Minnesota, right? So it's like what, 7:15 by you? They're probably sleeping by now, right? I would think grandparents.
He's probably got him out shoveling snow.
I'm definitely looking at getting it. Just the pay-per-view, being able to get the pay-per-views instead of having to pay $45 per time.
It's a no-brainer.
Getting those included, and then all the content, all the video library stuff and everything.
It's a no-brainer.
It's like, take the money now.
Right. For $45 a time, they should send one of the diva chicks out to sit with you and watch it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking the same thing. Diggity Dag, we got to go, man. But listen, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate that. I'm glad you dialed those numbers, which, again, by the way, is 480-745-1033. And if you want to be part of the show, go ahead and do that after we hang up with Diggity Dag.
And here's the thing, guys, and we've gone over. I've got to head out tonight, big guy. But here's the thing, Diggity Dag, thank you so much for calling in.
Yep.
And guys, it's all about interaction here. You're welcome to call in. Give us your input. Tell us what you think.
Yeah.
We want to know. Just the emails alone aren't, it's easy to call. You don't have to even type anything.
No.
It's like Dragon Speak.
You heard Diggity Dag right there. He shared his opinions. We agreed. We disagreed. We talked. We laughed. We had a good time. We want you to do the same thing.
Hey, you know what? I like that. Just hitting that.
Yeah.
The only thing that worries me, what if it was like a collection agent? Hey, I'm like, whoa, that took a big risk there. That was putting him on live.
That would have been on your own.
That would have been for you. I was protecting you.
That would have been your home phone number.
Shankster.
Joe Curl's home phone number. 480.
You know what? That's okay. Right. Thank you. Beep.
Yeah. Thanks, Diggity Dag.
Diggity Dag. You have a great one, buddy.
See ya. All right.
You guys have a good night, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good, man. Take care. Thank you so much. Always good to hear from Diggity Dag on the phone there. And if anybody wants to call, let's give just a couple minutes here. If anybody wants to call in, I know we're over the limit here, but if you want to call in really quick, like Diggity Dag, and share your opinions on Royal Rumble or TNA or wrestling or Adam Pearce or whatever we talked about today, 480-745-1033. That's 480-745.
They have until Sorry, go ahead.
1033.
They have until I queue up the outro.
Yeah, the outro, which will be something by Air Supply, I'm guessing.
I'm thinking if that's what you like, but I love Air Supply, but
I
I was thinking you for more of a Manilow Bee Gees kind of guy.
Is it wrong for a man to like Air Supply by wearing a robe in front of a fireplace, sipping Spitzers with another man?
It is not.
I don't know if it is or not. I wouldn't want to go down that road. But regardless, like I said, if you want to call in, we got a couple of minutes here. Again, 480.
Where did you get the couple of minutes from, bud? We stopped 21 minutes ago.
Can I read the phone number here without you?
Go ahead.
480-745-1033. I know we stopped a couple minutes ago, but Diggity Dad called in, so I want to give anybody else a moment to call in here. But I guess
there's the moment.
Okay, well, if you didn't call in, you're screwed. The lines are shut off right now. But I want to say thank you to Dougie Fresh over there, Mr. Doug McDonald from WrestlingRumors.net. I want to thank Mr. Scrap Iron Adam Pierce for joining us.
Your email, pal.
Our email, of course, is Brian, BRIAN, at KQCKradio.com. And Joe at KQCKradio.com. Visit us every Wednesday right here at 5 o'clock Mountain, 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. And if you're over in California or Oregon or one of those other states over on that side that's going to fall in the ocean one day, you can check us out at your time at 4 p.m.
And a shout out to my buddy out there, David Bender, devout fan. And thank you, Diggity Dak. You guys rock, and all of you listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next Wednesday. And, of course, I'll see you before then.
And don't forget, we love you. We thank you. We want to talk to you next time, right here off the top of radio.
Feel free to send us photos of
naked women.
I wasn't going to say that. Come on.
Add them to your collection. So,
who are you?
All right. Thanks again, everybody.